Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me well. I hope everything's good. I hope everyone's doing well. I just wanted to do a short stream quick about something that I got. Daredevil Born Again is arguably Frank Miller's greatest writing of his career. Happens to be that, also that Mazzucchelli came through with his, I guess that's when he became an all-time great, I think, during this particular run. It's a fantastic series. Nothing like it in Daredevil's history was like it before or after this. Hello, Emerald Fat. How's it going, man? I just want to run through a little of Miller and Mazzucchelli's Daredevil Born Again. This is the artist edition, which is fantastic. And he added, between the chapters, he added his 2007 drawings of Daredevil, which were great. Very, very stylized, a little different than his usual stuff. And then, of course, I have this version as well. I have the digital version as well. I have the old hardcover edition. It's also great. And then just yesterday, I got this new edition, smaller, trade paperback, and Miller has an intro in here, as does Charlie Cox, the actor who plays Matt Murdock, Daredevil, in here. So I just want to read that intro. I'm just curious. First time, got some good pull quotes from here. If you hear a dog, sorry, there's a dog out there going a little wild. Let me read the intro from, if you're familiar with this, Apocalypse, the first issue. Hey, Jimmy. Cheers. Hell. Again, I just wanted to show my different... again, this is, I think, Miller's greatest writing in terms of just sheer writing. Sheer writing. His best work. I think his best comic book overall, written and drawn, was Dark Knight Returns. I think his writing for this was fantastic. That's the artist edition. And then again, I have the hardcover edition here. And then yesterday, as I just mentioned, I have this new trade paperback with a new introduction by Miller, which I'm going to read right now, actually. It's for the first time, so. So this is Frank Miller, Hell's Kitchen 2024. If you can hear me, great. Thanks, guys. I just want to make sure. I had a little technical difficulty yesterday. Evening, Flatey. How are you? So I'm just going to read from Daredevil Born Again, Frank Miller's introduction. I think it was already posted online, so I don't feel bad about doing it. It was already, I guess, as part of the idea to get people to buy this. I just got another one also for someone as a gift. So Miller says, introduction, the squalid, steaming streets of Manhattan's Hell's Kitchen were both playground and battleground for young Matt Murdock. He cut his teeth and broke a few of them, playing too hard and climbing rattling old fire escapes and taking way too many falls as his stumpy little boy legs grew long and gangly and just plain clumsy. It was the bullies who made a battleground of it. You see, Matt's dad was a burnt-out boxer who saw way too much of himself in his scrappy young son. He browbeat his little natural-born warrior to keep his hands off anything that even looked like a tool of violence. No baseball bats for Matt. No hockey sticks or toy boomerangs or even a baseball glove to call his own. Just a library card and endless admonition. Study, study, study. Become a doctor or a lawyer or something special. Don't be like me. Don't be a loser like your dad, and don't you fight. Not ever. Don't you ever get your knuckles bloody. You promised me, boy. And so Matt promised. And he did exactly like his old man told him to. Almost always he did. Hello, John. Just got this new edition of Daredevil Born Again. I have, I think, 4 different editions. Artist edition, hardcover, the digital one, and this one. And I'm just reading Frank Miller's new introduction to this edition. So he says, almost always, as in Matt promised not to fight. He told his father, he goes, almost always. He threw himself into schoolwork, and if you hear a dog, I apologize, guys. It's just going off. He threw himself into schoolwork and even learned to love it. Miller's talking about Matt Murdock. He pestered his teachers with questions that got them arguing with each other. He worked the library databases until closing time. And then night would fall and his spirits would rise. To the skies they'd rise. To the skies. Or at least to the rooftops. That's where he'd go. The weathered, docked, and pitted tenement rooftops of the kitchen, where rats scrambled from his path and pigeons scattered, clacking and complaining like Christmas Eve shoppers shoving their way through Macy's. He clambered, he scrambled, he vaulted. From one clanky old ledge to the next, somersaulting over certain death to land in an unbroken run to the next leap, the next spider climb up bare brick, the next wild flip from roof to rickety iron ladder, the weightless skidder to the top of an ancient water tower. Here all of Manhattan's glory and far beyond it would sprawl, ever moving, ever sounding off with whiny siren wails and warring horns of wary old trucks and petulant taxis. He goes, an author puts himself, or at least a piece of himself, in nearly every character that author creates. Think of fictive writing as you would acting. An actor develops, then assumes and decides. Excuse me. If the dog's, let me know, guys. If it's too much, I'm gonna maybe check out because I can hear it incessantly. This barking dog, very annoying. An author puts himself, or at least a piece of himself, in nearly every character that author creates. Again, this is Frank Miller from his new introduction to the new edition of Daredevil Born Again. A smaller version with a really nice matte cover. No shine whatsoever. Love the feel of it. And that dramatic cover. What was it? 233. The cover 233. Where he put the costume back on. So Miller says, think of fictive writing as you would acting. An actor develops, then assumes or decides every aspect of the character. Some of this can be done by observing mannerisms, gestures, and quirks in others, sure. But the guts and heart of a performance, actors tell me, come from deep inside the actor's own psyche. So it is with the cartoonist. So it is with me. Even when I'm working on a character created generations previous, it's my job to offer up a reinterpretation, even a reinvention, as would an actor playing an existing part. To, as an actor would say, make the character my own. A restless maverick seeking creative independence, I brought on the masterclass Samurai Ronin. Facing the dreaded age of 30, I reformatted Batman to a cranky old 50-year-old in Dark Knight Returns. In Sin City, Dwight McCarthy echoes my anxious, haunted moments, while Marv is the charging, angry id that lurks inside us all. But before all that came Daredevil. It was my first gig, and I got to cut loose with sometimes reckless enthusiasm, buttressed by editors Joe Duffy and Denny O'Neill's advice and caution, and by Klaus Janssen's bold, decisive, slashing inks and finishes. A few years later, in circa 1986, now editor Ralph Macchio invited me back and decided it was time for another reinvention. This one far more dramatic than the last. Daredevil, I believed, didn't need reinterpretation or reinvention. He needed an out-and-out rebirth. He needed to be born again, stripped to his essence, then revivified, cleansed, purified, a calmer man, a stronger man, a happy man. Frank Miller, Hell's Kitchen, 2024. And this series, this storyline was, again, it doesn't get better than this. It doesn't get better than this in story and art. And it doesn't get better than this in Daredevil stories. I mean, you put any Daredevil story up against this, it's going to fall. Even Miller's previous work. It's just that damn good. And the differences from issue 1 to issue 7 of this, Mazzucchelli's art. This one looked like he went more for leaner, thinner line pens and markers. Very different, very stylized. He just exploded as an artist. And look at this. The difference is he was a relatively realistic artist, but here was a little more stylized. I mean, look at that, Ben Urich. I went through this issue 231 on my blog, on my YouTube channel. Check it out. I broke down why it's the standout visually of this particular story. It's flat out the standout. Then they have some of these roughs and the script as well. I don't know if it's the entire script. It can't be the entire script, but it has issue 233. Okay. A script for 30 pages by Frank Miller. It's interesting to look at the script and then look at the final result. But again, this was, the finest Daredevil story ever written. It was more significant and more consequential for the character than anything that had come prior. And again, there's nothing that beats it since, nothing that stands up to it. Okay, good guys. You can't hear the dog. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Glad to hear. John says, I gotta reluctantly admit that the first 2 seasons of Daredevil on Netflix was pretty solid. Definitely. The third one was good as well. I thought the second season went a little too off kilter with the Elektra stuff. I appreciated it coming back to the Kingpin and then introducing Bullseye in season 3. And, I'm cautiously excited about Daredevil Born Again, the revived series on Disney Plus coming out next month. Next month now. Because of the actors. And also because of the fact that Marvel scratched 8 episodes that they had already shot everything, fired the directors and writers, knocked them all out, and started from scratch again. So there's that. It's possible. It could be better than it was going to be, at least. But we will see. If Lady says, yeah, I like those, and the first season of Punisher 2, at least for me. Yeah, Punisher season 1 was good. Punisher season 2, I don't remember what the hell it was. I don't remember. He was traveling outside of the city, a girl, I don't remember, to be honest. Not that good. Jimmy says, Daredevil on Netflix was solid, I agree. Yeah, really well done. Then they ruined it, LOL. I guess you mean maybe season 3, which I liked. I liked season 3. It went back to the Kingpin and Daredevil. None of the mystical stuff from the ninjas. John Porter says, Jessica Jones was terrible in every way. I like Jessica Jones. I like the actress. I like that first season. It did, yeah, it went to hell ultimately, but that first season is good. It's legit. It's actually good writing, good acting, and the actress really makes it. Jimmy says, Jessica Jones, Iron Fist, and Luke Cage fell flat for me. I liked aspects of Luke Cage. Didn't like Iron Fist. Jessica Jones, that first season was very good. Luke Cage pops up in there as well. And something about the Purple Man, the evil of the Purple Man in that first season. You don't get many really dark, disgusting, evil guys like that. And I always appreciate when Hollywood does that today, because they're always trying to understand evil, understand the bad guys at the expense of the good guys. This time he had a real legitimate evil scumbag in the Purple Man. He was a good bad guy. I think he elevated the show as well. Flady says, I never liked Elektra as a character. It's funny. She's not a beloved character. She's not an accessible character. She's not like a heartfelt character where you get, she isn't. But she's an exciting villain. you know, a villain, if done well. Jimmy says they nailed the Kingpin with the actor. I mean, so good. I would never have thought that actor, having seen him in other movies, he's a very strange person. He's a leftist. He's a big mouth like that. Played quirky characters, weird, and then he comes and gets Kingpin dead on. It's like, damn. From the size, and he put on that voice, because that's not his real voice. The actor has a higher range, and he pulled it off. Great. Vincent D'Onofrio. I think you got it right, Flatey. John says they have forgotten how to construct a hero's tale in Hollywood. 100%. A lot of villains are in Hollywood, flat out, and the heroes are left, out of the club in a lot of ways. Those who want to tell stories about heroes are seen as a problem. And also, in one way, they're a reproach to those who like their villainy as it is. It's like they like a dirty town, they like bad guys. They can relate to them. They don't want these great guys. Guys and women. DJ Grave Mix says, I appreciate acknowledging the fatherless problem with black men in Luke Cage. Did they do that? I guess they may have alluded to that. I'm also amused by these shows, right? Disney and stuff. It's Disney Marvel. Even though Netflix had their own little contract deal with that, it was a little separate from that. Even though they did allude to Thor, the guy with the hammer, and other things. But in Luke Cage, they use the word nigger a lot. To the point where it's like, all right, guys, you're telling us that's the worst word in the history of mankind. That it's like no one can ever say, and you're throwing it out like candy on that show. I don't buy that bullshit. I don't necessarily use the word, but I'm sure as hell not going to bite my tongue if I'm going to address it like I just did. It's comical. It's very, very comical. Anyway, guys, I just wanted to run that through, and you know what? I might as well just do this. Why not? There's another forward. There's a forward, actually. The introduction was by Miller, but the forward to the new edition of Daredevil Born Again is by Charlie Cox, the actor who plays Daredevil. So, why don't I read from that as well? Why not? Why not, guys? Let's see. Let's see what the actor has to say. Usually actors don't have much to say. They're transcribers, emotive transcribers of the real artists, the writers. But let's see. In the spring of 2014, having just boarded a flight in London bound for New York City, I sat, again, this is Charlie Cox, the actor who plays Daredevil, Matt Murdock in Daredevil in the Daredevil series. He said, in the spring of 2014, 10 years ago, 11 years ago now, having just boarded a flight in London bound for New York City, I sat and contemplated the next few months of my life. There were many things at that moment that I did not know. Here are 3 of them. 10 years from now, I'll still not have returned home. My life was about to change profoundly and irrevocably. One thing also, guys, does anyone know, because Charlie Cox, the actor who plays Daredevil, played in a show called Kin, which was really good. Like a gangster series with a gangster family, right? I can't find season 2 anywhere. Nowhere. If anyone knows about it, give me a heads up, please. Season 1 was good. Anyway, so he continues. Charlie Cox, the actor who plays Matt Murdock Daredevil, he goes about being, coming to America to play Daredevil from London. My life was about to change profoundly and irrevocably. Anything about Matthew Murdock, he didn't know anything about Murdock. The audition process had been long and grueling, and it had highlighted my almost total lack of knowledge about the wonderful universe of Marvel. I'd never actually this is one guy who's being upfront about it. I know actors pretend to be fans when they're clearly not, like Eric July, fans of comics. This guy is saying it outright. And it didn't affect his performance. He was great, and he is great as Matt Murdock Daredevil. He's great. I mean, I'm really glad we got a guy like that, as good an actor as that, to play Daredevil. It really makes it, it's like, okay, we're in good hands with him, D'Onofrio. If the writers are good, decent this time for the revival, good. So he continues, Charlie Cox goes, the audition process had been long and grueling and had highlighted my almost total lack of knowledge about the wonderful universe of Marvel. I'd never actually read a comic book, and so great was my ignorance of the character that in my first audition I neglected to portray him as blind, thinking Daredevil was simply the noun used to describe a skydiver or mountaineer. Thankfully, however, the powers that be saw something in me. Personally, I wasn't convinced. That's hilarious. And I've seen him with the fans. I've seen him in interviews. He's honored to play this part. He's very respectful. He seems like a good, decent guy. That's how he comes off, at least in interviews I've seen him. And it's holding true here as well in his intro. He goes, having won this role of a lifetime. By the way, Frank Miller visited the set of the new Daredevil, and he mentioned it, at least in a recent interview. Pretty cool. Daredevil, Frank Miller didn't create Daredevil, but he might as well be, he's the guy who took the character and just made him his own. And the most memorable stories are by Miller. From that early run, 158 to 191, to 227, 233, to the Daredevil, the Electro graphic novel with Daredevil's in there, to Daredevil Man Without Fear. Great stuff. Let's see. He goes, having won this role of a lifetime. See, I'm glad he acknowledges that. I immediately asked my new bosses at Marvel for guidance in terms of research and was promptly given a Marvel Unlimited account that, as it suggests, gives you access to nearly the entire back catalog of Marvel Comics. 50 years of incredible Daredevil history at my fingertips. With the login details came a short list of essential reading. Top of that list was Born Again, Daredevil Born Again. It's the story. It's Matt Murdock's main, it is it. If you guys haven't read it, you got to read it. It's the best of the best. Again, hands down, Miller's best writing. And Mazzucchelli, that's where he became an all-time great. That was the series that realized, okay, he was good prior to this story in Daredevil with Denny O'Neil, and then he just hit the stratosphere with Daredevil Born Again, and then he went and did Batman Year One. Incredible. So Cox continues, over the next few months, alongside fight training, muscle building, accent work, visual impairment consultations, and basic lawyer research, I made my way through countless Daredevil issues, hooked from the very beginning. I began with everything Frank Miller, then jumped back to the character's inception with Stan Lee, Bill Everett. I am loath to single any out, but along with Born Again and Man Without Fear, I love Daredevil Yellow, Guardian Devil, End of Days, and of course the spellbinding run in the early 2000s from Brian Michael Bendis and Alex Mayleaf. I can't stand Brian Michael Bendis. He's the Rob Liefeld of writing comics. What Rob Liefeld is to drawing comics, he's Rob Liefeld to writing comics. I've never read a story where I ever felt like, wow, this guy is great. He's hitting on all, it's always awkward, always something wrong and off about him. And I'm glad to know that he hasn't written, he's not, I don't know, is he out there? Is he still out there? I guess he's enjoying his money that he made. Ill-gotten gains, for bad shit writing. I love Daredevil, so I read some issues that he drew, and thanks, Immoral Fat, appreciate it, because I enjoy your reading streams. Great voice, thanks, man. I've called people on YouTube over the years read tarts for not being able to read clearly and smoothly. And now I'm a retard myself. I am definitely a retard, but I'm trying to be better. Because whatever it is, when you're reading to the public, I don't know. I don't know what it is. Other considerations you're not reading in your own mind. The Eric July of comics, that's funny. Hail, Alpha. So let me just continue. This is, again, Charlie Cox, the great actor who plays Matt Murdock, Daredevil, in the foreword to the new edition of Daredevil Born Again. I got some marker there. He goes, I could never claim to have been the sort of fan who picked up his first comic as soon as I was old enough to read. Alas, but I fell in love with these books, and bringing Matt Murdock to life on screen has been one of the greatest honors of my life. Again, I believe he means that. I believe he means it. I believe he means it. He comes off like a decent guy who first of all, he kicks ass in his profession. He's a great actor. That's awesome to hear. For me, Matthew's enduring fascination has always been his divided self. He is a man of profound contradictions, and when written best, he is a model of rectitude, whilst having a moral center that seems to exist in polar opposite extremes. He is highly erratic, yet you cannot help but trust him even. I would argue, when he touches madness on occasion, never better depicted than in the first few issues of Born Again. Yeah. Yep. Matthew's a passionate lawyer who believes with every fiber of his being in the fundamental importance of the judicial system, yet nightly takes the law into his own hands, doing away with due process. It's an interesting dynamic there, isn't it? He is a devout Catholic who believes firmly in God's will and the perfect unfolding of his plan. This conviction staying with him whilst he suits up in the colors of the devil and plays God, night after night after night. If I were to describe this person to you as if he were a friend of mine, you would rightly assume him to be a maniac, the least trustworthy of men, perhaps suffering from some form of split personality and maybe in need of sedation and medication. And yet, how miraculous is it that in the pages of these books, not only do we trust him, but we see him as a man of deep integrity. Yeah, that's the thing. He's always trying to do the right thing, and sometimes his need for justice overrides and he gets a little more brutal than he has to at times. He regrets it. He's a great character and made great by Miller, because prior to Miller, I got to say, he was second and third tier. Miller made him a first-tier character. He made him right there. And when he brought Kingpin into the universe of Daredevil, that was ingenious. That's Frank Miller's genius. He's like, I'm going to borrow the Kingpin from Spider-Man and bring him here. And it worked out beautifully to the point where he's become more of a Daredevil villain than he is a Spider-Man villain. To me, it doesn't make sense that he can go toe-to-toe with a Spider-Man. Spider-Man's a powerhouse. Spider-Man can kill him with one punch. It's ridiculous to see the Kingpin going toe-to-toe with Spider-Man, who's a super-powered being. However, people pretend like, well, he's a slight guy. He's not that build. He's not that tall. He's a powerhouse. He can lift 10 tons. He can throw a bus over his head. He can jump 40 feet. He can stick to walls. He has a spider sense. He's an amazing, super-powered character. I'm going to get to some comments here, guys. I just want to finish this off. It's a few more paragraphs. Again, this is Charlie Cox, his foreword from the new edition of Daredevil Born Again. Foreword by Charlie Cox, introduction by Frank Miller. I just read the introduction by Frank Miller if you guys want to go back, if you haven't heard it. He goes, by stripping Matt Murdock of everything in Born Again, we are given a glimpse into our hero reduced to his bare bones, mirrored thousands of miles away by his greatest love, Karen Page. They literally struggle to take one step at a time. In these spine-tingling early pages, Mazzucchelli's emaciated Matt is regularly found curled up in the fetal position, juxtaposed with a towering, rounded Wilson Fisk. The image created in our minds is every bit as imposing as Miller's depiction of the sinister strings that are pulled to unravel Matt's life. The combination of the visual monster and the evil that cannot be seen is as chilling and claustrophobic as it gets. As I said before, my life was changed forever when Matthew Murdock entered into it. One could argue that Matt Murdock himself was changed forever when Frank Miller entered into his life. That's for sure. And in Born Again, he highlights maybe my favorite aspect of Matt's character, resilience. Resilience. As Matt says, in one moment he's not in the hospital or in the his mom's the salvation. I forgot what it was called, but he's like, my father, didn't give me much, but what he did give me, it was a few words: never, ever give up, ever. Echoing Churchill. Upon writing this, I will shortly be entering into another long, hard stint of bringing this character to life on screen. There will be long hours, cold, harsh New York weather, brutal fight choreography, and emotional upheavals. What will I need to get through it all? Resilience. That's very, very cool. That's awesome. Great actor. It's nice of him to take the time to give us some of his thoughts on playing the great character. And again, look at this, man. I remember getting these issues and just blown away. The power of Miller's writing and Mazzucchelli just exploding on the scene. And now again, he had been drawing Daredevil for a few years at that point, but nothing prepared me for what he ended up doing. Look at this storytelling. Look at the composition. Look at Ben Urich's face right there as that person gets her head blown off, that woman, the nurse. Look at that look of determination from the guy who just got shot in the gut. Incredible. What an incredible look at this. And again, I have this artist edition and the hardcover edition as well. The artist edition is a hardcover edition as well. This is a cover of Marvel Age that was discussing Miller's return to Marvel and Daredevil after his, I don't know if it was after Ronin for sure, because I think, if I remember correctly, Matt Miller was on such a roll. Dark Knight Returns, Batman Year One, Daredevil Born Again, the Electrograph novel that he was working on, and then it was released 4 years later. 4 years later. For whatever reason. Look at these also. If you remember the Daredevil Born Again, and then you see every, between the issues, they post his 2007 drawings that he did of Daredevil. Very different than his run, but it's so cool to see in a more streamlined, more cartoony look. A more of a Wally Wood style than what he ended up doing on the character. But I love these. I love these artist editions. They're beautiful. And look at this. Issue 131 is here. This is the one, again, that just blew me away. It blew me away. Where Mazzucchelli, now, you see Foggy right there, right? You see underneath, he whited out some of the lines, some of the detail. He started getting a little more refined, a little more simple in his art. It is a huge book of Flighty. It's beautiful. And this is like, it's supposed to give us the feel of how the original art looks. They scanned them really well because you could tell the yellowing of the paper. So damn good. You got these moments here with Captain America. Give me 1 second. I just want to see what else they have here. Interesting. They have some of the larger pages here. Some of the different covers. Yeah, look at this. That was the first trade paperback cover. That was the black and white. And that was the color one. And again, leave it to Mazzucchelli to make a pose which could be very problematic for some artists, to put that foreshortening of that knee and thigh and calf. But he pulls it off. He pulls it off. It's awesome. It shows the lightness of Daredevil. He's very light on his feet. It's gorgeous. And they show all the main characters here, from Ben Urich to his wife, to Nuke, to the nurse, to the cop, to Captain America, to Foggy and Gloriana, to his mother, to Turk is in there, the Kingpin. Man, again, it doesn't get better than this. And for superhero comics, it doesn't get better than this. Mainstream Marvel, DC, doesn't get better than this. And again, he did these in 2007. Years after he did this thing. And again, it's a very interesting take on Daredevil. Very different than his comic book run. More of a refined Romita Sr., Wally Wood style. And I love it. I mean, I'd love to see him do a Daredevil like that at some point. Let me just read this one. If you haven't read it, I say check out, guys. Check out. I don't want to ruin anything for you. No lines. So if you haven't checked out, okay, I warned you. Daredevil had his life basically go to hell. Everything went to hell, from his money to his life to his law license to every aspect, right? And he's thinking, how the hell did this happen? And then his house gets blown up. And he's like, huh. Because it was a systematic destruction of him and his life. Unseen, invisible. And then his house was blown up. And then he's like, there's nothing left. He goes, so you know. He just, this is his inner monologue. So you know. So that's why. He goes, I never would have connected it to you. Nothing about it said gangster until this. It was a nice piece of work, Kingpin. You shouldn't have signed it. I mean, guys, the writing, the art, beautiful. And I believe Al Milgrom inked these last few pages of issue 227. I believe it. I don't know 100%, but he must have been on deadline or something, because it looks more like an Al Milgrom. You know, Al Milgrom, a decent inker. I mean, he was. If there's one thing that Al Milgrom was good at, it was inking. But that's about it. His penciling sucked. Writing, I don't remember much great writing at all. But look at this. Look at this gorgeous layout, composition, anatomy, the energy. I mean, look at this. Look at that. The inside front cover. Look at this. Look at that pose. It's funny, in the introduction, he mentions how he drew Daredevil with a smaller head. Like he was kicking himself for it. And that's funny because in one of his rejection letters in 1980, Jim Shooter wrote him back, and he liked what he saw, but he goes, but you know, the big heads, this and that, so I think he really went overboard trying to make his head not just big, but way too small. But eventually, you know, Mazzucchelli to me is, Alex Toth is the greatest comic book artist of all time. The most innovative, the most graphic, the best storyteller, the best. His finished work was second to none, and he inked a lot of it, if not most of it. At least when he became, you know, what he became. Lettering was second to none. He was like, even letterers are like, he's one of the greatest letterers on top of that. And then you got Mazzucchelli, and Mazzucchelli hasn't done he hasn't produced as much as the other guys have. But my God, he's incredible, an all-time great. So let me read a few of these comments, guys, and then I am going to get going. I just wanted to share that with you. I can't wait to reread it again. I can't say how many times I've reread it. It's incredible. Okay, let me get to you 1 second, guys. Give me one second. Just hold on. I'll be right there. All right, guys, I'm just going to read from the top. Okay. Jimmy says, who left their Foot Locker unlocked and was hoarding a jelly donut? I don't know what that's from. John Porter says, LOL, new Marvel superhero coming soon. Please put your hands together for Black Rage. I'm not sure what that's about, but it wasn't me, Jimmy. John says it wasn't me, Jimmy. Emerald Fat 40 says, I was into Jessica Jones. Yeah, me too. I liked that first season. The first season was very strong. The actress is great. The writing was good. Yeah, he got into a mess, I gotta say, with her friend and her mom and all that. But that first season is legit good. And the villain, again, one of the greatest villains in any of those Daredevil shows. I mean, he was right up there, I think, with Kingpin in terms of the malice that he had, that he conveyed, that he pushed into the world. A really bad guy. Petty in his evil, destroying lives like nothing. DJ Griffin Mix says the first thing I saw Charlie Cox in was Boardwalk Empire. I started watching it a little. I'm glad he's in there. I will definitely check it out. Very, very cool. I will definitely continue it. Jimmy Lumberjack says a third season of the Irish crime drama Kin is unlikely to happen due to bankruptcy by the show's production company per Google. Yeah, I didn't see season 2 even. I didn't even see season 2. Season 1 was strong. Charlie Cox played a great guy, a very reluctant criminal, but circumstances being what they are, it's great. He was really good in there. DJ Gravy Mix says about Charlie Cox, he seems very committed to it physically too, 100%. The guy's always jacked, always. That's important. I mean, you can't slack on playing superhero. And Daredevil was always, shredded, always. It's good to see that. It's good to see that when his shirt is off, you say, okay, he did the work. This guy's committed. The only thing I didn't like, and I don't think Charlie Cox liked it, is when they make him cry like a bitch. Sorry, but I don't see Daredevil whining. I don't see that. And I don't see Foggy or even Karen doing that. A little too much of that stuff. And that's why I don't mind that the new showrunner for the revival is saying that he didn't like some of the, how do you put it, navel gazing, about what is a hero, what makes a hero. Now, that argument that he had with Punisher, that's valid. That's solid. When Punisher argues with him and says, what the hell, man? He goes, you punch him, they get back up. Me, I put him down, that's it. That's a good argument about what makes a hero and not, and so on. And you can argue about the results. But when you got Foggy bitching and moaning like, I don't want you to be Daredevil anymore, it's like, get the fuck out of here. I mean, I don't want to hear that. I don't. And when they make Matt start whining and crying, Charlie Cox doesn't sell it. And believe it or not, even as a viewer, I'm like, I'm glad he doesn't, because I think he disagrees with it on a fundamental level. It's like, why the hell am I having Matt Murdock cry? The only time he cried in the comics was when he realized that Elektra was actually dead. And he tells Foggy, she's dead. She's dead. And he's not whining. He just has a tear come rolling down his eye. That's strong. Wolverine, when Mariko betrays him, or at least he thinks she does, and that single tear, that's strong. That's it. Keep it at that. John Porton says, another wild and exciting day in Trump country today. Indeed it is. Indeed it is, John. It's interesting times, revolutionary times, flat out. Revolutionary times, guys. The left doesn't know what hit them. The left has been counting on pussy Republicans for decades. Counting on it to communize America. They're like, these bitches aren't going to stop us. All of a sudden, they have a Trump who they radicalized. He would have been a conventional president probably if he had won last time. Better than maybe his first term, but this time, no. The stakes are so high that you got to put the real hurt on the commie Nazis in the Democrat Party. You got to put the real hurt on them. And that's what the double team of Trump and Elon are doing. And then you got J.D. Vance on top of that, so it's awesome. Jimmy says, Charlie Cox could have been used in a cinematic universe. He definitely could have. And the rumor is, and I hope it's true, that he might end up in the Secret Wars adaptation. Which Daredevil wasn't in the original Secret Wars. I don't give a shit. Put him in there. Put Charlie Cox in there. He deserves it. He's a great actor. I want to see Daredevil in there. That would be great. And he popped up in the Spider-Man movie, No Way Home, which is really, really cool. That little moment. That was great to see him. It was a big surprise. Egon the Dragon Cock says, Frank Miller's to Daredevil as Claremont is to X-Men 100%. He owns it. He he made the character greater than he ever was, as did Claremont. And we know, for all my griping about Claremont when it comes to overwriting and stuff, and the guy made some of the greatest comic books ever. Dark Phoenix with John Byrne and Terry Austin, in terms of superhero stories, the greatest, arguably. I mean, personally, The Dark Knight Returns for me, but that's right there. It's right there. Immoral Fat, yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, again, he says, I enjoy your reading streams, great voice, thank you. But again, I've called people who can't read well on air read tarts, and I become one. I've tried not to, but I shouldn't have spoken too soon. Egon the Dragoncock says, Ben did his best to destroy, I think Bendis is what you're talking, because I mentioned it before. I think Bendis did his best to destroy X-Men and Superman. Piece of shit. He sucks. I can't stand him. His writing is terrible. I remember he had an entire page or two of James Jonah Jameson speaking to Aunt May and going, an entire page or two. You can't do that. You can't do that. I know he thinks he's being cute. He's an asshole. He's also the asshole who created the Black Spider-Man, the Black Iron Man, Riri Williams, the Black Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and he adopted, I guess, a few kids, or he married someone who had, and he cried about it in interviews. Like, shut the fuck up. You didn't create shit. You're a old, fat, bald, ugly white dude. Who are you to create anything like that? It's just stupid. And try to get some great credit for it. Miles Morales sucks. The only time I ever liked it was in that first movie, the Spider-Verse. Even though at the expense, of course, it's always at the expense of Peter Parker, who they made into a loser with a belly. And then the second one, they had him, he swung around with his baby. He was doing adventures, fighting bad guys with his little infant baby on his back or in a front pack. Stupid. Make him into an idiot to try to lift Miles. And the guy who makes the voice for Miles sucks also. And supposedly I think he's tried to hook up with, what's her name? That beautiful actress who does the voice to Gwen, Spider-Gwen, Haley something. Beautiful actress. He tried to hook up with her and no, it didn't work. And he also leaves out S's. I'm Miles Morales. It's like, you're what? Miles Morales? Miles Morales. Get it right. Open your mouth a little. Anyway, who me says the Eric July of comics. I'm not sure exactly who you're talking about, but it's funny. You're taking Eric July out of comics, which is true. He's not really in comics. Hail fam, hail chat, Alpha channel. Wingus Diggins says, Ultimate Spider-Man was good. At least I enjoyed it when I read it as a kid. Can't think of anything else by him that I liked, though. I didn't like it. I stopped cold. And then he had I think I read another one, was Spider-Man and Hulk team up. Marvel team up was revived. He wrote it. It was so bad. I was like, this guy sucks. I'll never get anything he does. Egon the Dragoncock says, Bendis did his best to... Okay, sorry. Some reason this whole thing went up and down. Flated One says, yeah, I couldn't stand Bendis' Iron Man run, complete draws. Didn't read that. I'm glad I didn't. I love Iron Man. It was a great character. I imagine it was terrible. He's so bad. He's such an asshole, too. A Man Called Plush. Hail Pigman. Hail Plush. Thanks. John Porton, any special plans for Pigman launch day? I'm going to try to get... someone to help me. I'm gonna stream myself clearly on my own. I'll try to do it on Twitter and YouTube, on X and YouTube, and maybe I'll figure it out. I'll see. I'll ask in the King's chat room. I want to have a big launch day. I really do. Friday the 21st. I just went back and forth with Luke from Fun My Comic. I sent him an email. He just sent me back. I haven't read it yet, but we're going to go back and forth. Any tips, anything that he would recommend, I'm going to figure this out. I'm finishing up the cover, the alternate cover. Might have another one. I'm going to see, but I got 2 weeks to basically muscle it up and get it going and get it launched finally. It's exciting. So yeah, I'm just gonna, as of right now, I'm gonna be, clearly campaigning that day, and we will see. A Man Called Plush says it's ridiculous because it's comics. I love the visual of Fisk bear hugging Spidey. I know. Look, I know, but you take it seriously, please, please. Spider-Man kick his ass. Just punch him once and he's dead. A Man Called Plush says, and I need a DD and Spidey team up against Fisk. Sure, why not? In the movie, in the series, that would be great. Flady1 says, that's the staple of a true hero, to live with integrity, morals, values, and principles. It's difficult to live a righteous life, but easy to leave based on feelings with no rudder or compass. I think I got what you're saying, the top part at least, but easy to live based on feel. Okay, easy to live based on feelings with no rudder or compass. Yeah, indeed. I got this drawing of Killian Duke, the hero, the guy who creates Pigman in the Pigman comic. It's the cartoonist who creates him. It's a drawing of him in thought, and I added this for the print. I said, everyone feels, imagine if everyone thought. To me, that's a distinction there. We all feel big shit about your feelings. Ultimately, big shit. That's fine that you feel. Who doesn't? Who doesn't? Do you think? Do you consider? Do you think about tomorrow and about the consequences of what you say and do, and so on? So yeah, indeed it is a staple of a true hero to live with integrity, morals, values, and principles. Absolutely. Jimmy says to John Portman, personally, that night's dinner will be 2-inch thick pork chops along with a wedge salad covered with bacon bits. That sounds great, man. I might even do that at some point. Maybe that night. I think it'll be good. Flady1 says, damn, that's a huge book. It is, man. It is, the Daredevil. And then I got the Batman Year One, which is even bigger than that. It's a few inches taller. And then the Sin City one might be... The Sin City and the Daniel Clowes book might be the biggest. Even though the Ditko's Amazing is also huge. It's right up there with the Sin City one. I think the Sin City might have it by a millimeter. The Dark Knight Returns also, Artist Edition, is also big. Not as big as a Sin City, but it's awesome. Check this out, too, guys. I got this a while back. Which is awesome. It has that saying on there. How cool is that? I love it. Love having this. All right, guys, let me just finish up here. Jimmy says, plus the braille at the bottom of the page is a nice touch. Yeah, it really is, isn't it, Jimmy? How cool is that? That is so cool. They do have that on the Daredevil Arts Edition. They have braille, yeah. It's so cool. Alpha Channel says, wow, I think you're referring to the Daredevil Born Again Arts Edition. John says it looks great. It does. Alpha Channel says he got doxxed. Who got doxxed? Alpha Channel. Flady1, that's some Godfather shit right there. As in the Daredevil Born Again, quality-wise, if that's what you're referring to, because it is. Jimmy the Lumberjack, boss, just a tip. Do not stream with the watch on, as it's a clue. A clue? Huh. I think you're right. In terms of, Okay. You're a treasure to a CG. You're very kind, Jimmy. Thank you so much. Thank you. Very kind. Willie D says, is Bosch the adult version of Dash? LOL. Do you mean from The Incredibles? If so, thanks. Love that character. What a great movie. What a great movie. And Up. Up. Now that's an all-time great. I got the special edition Blu-ray. It's fantastic. Beautiful movie. So well told. Mike Hunt says, you can make a male character cry, but his face needs to be stoic, like Kenshiro. Yeah, there's that. It's called the Manly Tears meme. If you haven't seen it, watch Key and Peele's Manly Tears skit. Watch it, guys. It's hilarious. So funny. Also, their a cappella skit. Another hilarious skit. Mike Hunt says, a Republican won this time instead of a super Republican. Not sure exactly what you mean, but I don't even see Trump as a Republican. I don't. I see him as an American who wants to do good for the country, not for the party. Fuck the party. For the country. Fleety One says Trump is a new metaphor for Godzilla, a sleep giant that they only now regret waking up. That's for sure. They radicalized him. I just mentioned that. It's the first time I even thought about it, yesterday, about that idea that they radicalized him, and whatever bitching and moaning they're doing, it's on you, pigs. It's on you. I shouldn't insult pigs by saying that. Sorry. Rats. Demic rats. Commune Nazi crats. Mike Hunt said they should have just let Trump win last time. He'd be out of office by now. True. They couldn't resist, though, could they? They couldn't resist. They had to steal it. They had to. And this is the price you pay for stealing it, scumbags. We're getting your machinery dismantled. And that's what's happening right now. Their machinery is getting dismantled. The leftist machinery is getting dismantled in this country. And it's just, guys, we're 2 weeks in. Imagine by the end of this. We know they're going to try to impeach him. We know all this. We know they're going to try to steal the midterms and all that. We know all that. But think about that. It's going to be incredible. Incredible times. Mike says, Sven Stoffels reads extremely well, and English is his second language. Very, very cool. That's good to hear. Al says, hey, Al. Yeah, I was a huge 1980s Marvel fan. Those characters no longer exist. If I'm in a mood to read Marvel comics, I'll just grab the old books 100%. Same here. Again, I just reread all of Lee and Kirby's FF. I reread all of Burns' FF. I just finished reading all of Simonson's Thor. I'm going to read a few more on that stack that I have, and then the CG comics, and go from there. So yeah, this is what I do. I love the medium. I love comics, and I'm just rereading the old ones. That's really what it's about at this point. Because it's a legitimate medium that the industry, the business of it sucks. The medium is sound. Travis Parrick says, EVS said the same thing about Bendis, that he's an asshole. Yeah, I believe he is. I never met the guy, but he is an asshole. Interviews, he's such a whiny bitch. He did nothing to really make comics great. Put an albatross of two shit characters, at least two. Miles Morales and Riri Williams, they suck. It's him trying to placate blacks. It's him trying to placate, I guess, his wife or her children. I don't know. Something. It's not honest art going on. Let's just say that. Mike Hunt says, don't think, feel, Bruce Lee. Yeah. What do you say? Don't think, feel like a finger pointing to the moon. Don't concentrate on the finger. You will lose all the heavenly glory. It's great, man. That opening to Enter Dragon. Fantastic. Headless Bourgeois says, Bourgeoisie, do you like Matt Wagner's artwork, Bosch? It has a similar aesthetic quality to Toast and Mazzucchelli's, in my opinion. It does, but it's not as sound. It's not as sound as Toth and Mazzucchelli. Toth and Mazzucchelli, for all their apparent surface simplicity, there's a lot going on under. There's a lot of structure work going on. There's a lot of understanding about the human anatomy, about objects. And Matt Wagner, I liked his stuff, but it's not on that level. It's not. He's not a great structural artist, even though the surface, if you're not aware, might look somewhat like that. But he's good. I mean, I like some of those stories that he did. Grendel, I liked the Batman. He did a few Batman back then. I think he did a Trinity thing a number of years ago. But yeah, Toth and Mazzucchelli, I think they're, again, seemingly simple. But there's a lot of thought going on there, a lot underneath it, a lot of structure drawing. And even if it's not, at that point where they become so good that they don't need to do a lot of structure drawing, there's a lot of thought on how they used to build these drawings, and they're still there to some extent, but they don't have to go through the process. Alvachano says, I love your streams, hilarious. Thanks. I didn't think I was being hilarious, but if I was, cool. Thanks for being here. Toxic Dust 13 says cool, not sure. Travis Parrick, Matt Wagner's Maj. Was it Maj? Was a really good book. I liked it. I liked stuff. Tragsistens. By the way, is that pigment painting behind you left print on canvas or authentic acrylic oil painting? It's a canvas. It's a print, canvas print. Canvas print. They did a great job. Canvas print. Love it. Love it. Alva Channel says Matt Murdock, but back then they didn't call it that. Doxed. Matt Murdock, but back then they didn't. As in he was doxed? As in Bendis with the FBI, if I recall. And I remember this really stupid fallout after Bendis had Matt Murdock lie, technically speaking, lie to the FBI and say that he was not Daredevil. And the dummy, Bendis, tried to send it out there like, Matt's a liar. It's like, dummy. He's protecting his life and the life of his loved ones. Doesn't want to tell the stinking government who he is. Doesn't want to confirm whatever suspicions they may have. So he's not a liar per se. It's like, again, it's like Nazis coming to your door. Hey, are your children here? Yeah. Hey, man, they take him. I was honest, right? I was honest. The overriding honesty is the fact that they're your loved ones. You will do anything to protect them. And if you have to, technically speaking, lie to the evil scumbags who are trying to take them out, you're going to do that. It's not a sellout to do that. It's just stupid. It's stupid. It's like, just speaking of that, about rational selfishness, about the thing that Rand writes about in her novels, about a rational self-interest, right? Your self-interest includes your loved ones, family, friends, includes your country. You want your country to do well. Your self-interest includes that. Okay? It doesn't preclude that. It doesn't like, I love myself, fuck everything else. That's stupid. That's irrational. That's retarded. So that kind of rational self-interest encompasses your values, whether they be people or things or ideas. M Sandwich says, great stuff. I think he's talking about something else here. Sorry, guys. Egon the Dragon Cock, what are your thoughts on the Fantastic Four trailer? I like it. I like the whole feel of it. I'm surprised they went there, to be honest. I don't care for the guys playing Reed Richards. I really don't. I think Dan Lawless said Chris Pine would have been a good Reed Richards. I think it definitely would have been a better Reed Richards than him, that's for sure. I think Cillian Murphy would have been good. Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards. I don't see it. I didn't see it in the trailer. His voice is a little froggy. He has this kind of voice like that. It's a little off. It's not a good voice. He has his hawk nose too, which doesn't really fit the character. The Thing looks incredible. The Thing looks like The Thing. I know people are bitching about the voice. I can live with it. You know, maybe they're going to fix it. Maybe they're going to make it a little more. But then again, you know what? A part of me is like, I want them to resist doing what they did with Rorschach in the very recent adaptation of The Watchmen. Very recent adaptation of The Watchmen where they had Rorschach going, I mean, terrible. Dr. Manhattan. No, that's terrible. That's not a human's voice. It's like you try hard. You know. So I don't want the Thing's voice to be like that. It's a little too casual, a little too human. But I like the fact that you see the Thing a little at ease with his deformity and then also pained about it. And then you see him running, which was cool as hell, just to see that. And what's her name? Kirby, the actress who plays Sue Storm. She is a good actress. The guy who plays Johnny, I don't know yet. I don't think they had him say one word in there. Maybe one word. Hey, that's it. I don't know. We will see. But the aesthetics are beautiful. I love it. It looks otherworldly, alternate universe, as in it's 1960s. It's in the 60s, but it looks like it's projecting what the future could be like. I don't know. I'm interested. I'm definitely interested. So I hope it's good. The trailer's good. I like it. I hope it's good. Mike Hunt says Incredibles 2 should have been set 14 years after Incredibles. The target audience were 14 years older, so were the voice actors. Yes, they were. Yeah, that would have been pretty cool, actually, to have that happen. To see Dash and the other girl, the Violet, grow up, and Mr. Fantastic and a little older. Sure, they should do that for part 3 from what I gather. Brad Bird's doing a part 3. I hope they do that. And Brad Bird, think about this also. For years, he had dreamed of making the Fantastic Four movie, and the idiots at Disney and Marvel are stupid. So they didn't take him up and say, okay, what do you want? It's yours. What do you want? He made the Iron Giant. He made the Incredibles. Give him the Fantastic Four, instead they're stupid. So it could have been about the kids being the new wave of heroes. Yeah. And I hope they do it, because when I gather, they are doing a part 3 with Brad Bird as writer-director. So M. Sandwich says Simonson's Thor is freaking awesome. It is awesome. And it's, I always liked it, and I haven't read it in years. So, man, it was so good revisiting it and not knowing exactly what happened at certain points. 'Cause I remember the big stuff with Searcher and all that, the Searcher War. But, man, the older stuff with the frog and then I was, a little disappointed when he left the series, Simonson, and Sal Buscema came in there. And, again, he's a serviceable artist. He's no Walt Simonson. But I did realize that when Sal inked himself, he was a lot better than when anyone else inked him. Joe Sinnott inked an issue in there. Wasn't as good as when he inked it. Brett Blevins and some others wasn't as good. Jeff Isherwood, I think, also. But Sal, when he inked his stuff, it was closer to Simonson. And then Simonson came back for that other issue with the Great Serpent. That was awesome. He wrote it and did the layouts, and Sal Buscema inked it, and it was fantastic. The double page spreads, the splash pages throughout the entire issue. And now I'm going to reread Ragnarok that he did in 2015, and part 4 will be coming out this year. Walt Simonson is written, penciled, inked. John Workman still doing the lettering, which is fantastic. So yeah, guys, I'm going to be going, but I just want to read a few more of the comments. I always appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Mike Hunt says, in Judge Dredd, the Soviet Union took over a block in Mega City 1 and Dredd nuked it. Did he? Wow. That's pretty awesome. That's a strong move. I deal with a nuke also in Pigman at some point. I won't say what it is, but I can't wait to actually draw it out. Headless Bourgeoisie, I agree. I wouldn't put Wagner in their league. Yeah, he is good, though. He's a good writer. He's a good artist. It's just that, again, the Toth and Mazzucchelli were structurally more sound. And they were great draftsmen. And they were so great that they figured, you know what? Maybe the finished look doesn't have to be as busy. I'll leave the business in the construction. And the finished work will be less. Alpha Channel says, when Kingpin got his identity, man, that was a killer. That was a big move. And there's no going back at that point, is there? It changed the entire relationship forever. Johnny Scab, hell. I'm glad you're here, Johnny. Travis Parrick says, a whole lot, Sir Scabs. John Porton says, Pedro Pascal must have something over Disney. It's funny. He is, it's become a meme, but he is overplayed. I mean, my God. He's all over the place. He's in Guardian. He's in, what's it called? Gladiator 2. He's in Fantastic Four. He's in all these TV shows, all these adaptations from video games. Like, damn. Fleety One says, yeah, I loved Rorschach's voice, and the actor did great, in my opinion. Yeah, look. Titus Welliver is a great actor. He plays Bosch, Harry Bosch, in the TV show, which is great, by the way. The final season, the 10th season, because it was Bosch, and then it was Bosch Legacy, and now I think it's a 3rd season of Bosch Legacy, and it's a final one. Great. But man, he fucked up, Fleety. He was a little too much in there. It's like, there's no need to do that. The guy's got a great voice to begin with. Titus Welliver, great voice. And I don't see he has to use his exact voice. Give me 1 second, guys. So I blame Titus Welliver, and I blame the director for having this guy sound like he has rocks in his throat for no reason. I mean, look at this. I had to get this. How beautiful is that? I try to get a question and Mr. A stuff. I think that there's a question one out there, but nothing as good as this. Man, beautiful. So beautifully done. Look at this, guys. And I wrote out in my handwriting, never compromise, not even in the face of Armageddon. So yeah, Flady, he goes, never compromise, not even in the face of Armageddon. No, don't do that. Use your good voice, Titus Welliver, and maybe lay it on a little, but not that much. And the Thing shouldn't even have that voice, that kind of gravelly voice. The Thing shouldn't even have that. I'm gonna put this back and show you one more thing, guys. Actually, 3 more things. 3 more things, guys. Also have fun there. I really love the live streams because it's so organic. You guys bring up some stuff, and I'm like, damn, it's some good commentary, some good prompts there. Really, really good. Thanks, guys. This is Alex Ross designed Spider-Man suit, mask, head, bust. And you may have seen my videos on Spider-Man. I don't know what happened here. I think it said Spider-Man or Alex Ross. I don't know what it was. But may have seen my videos where, because Ross gets it in terms of the line across the nose and the line across the mouth. And there's a circle there, and there's a circle there. And it works beautifully. And then there's the jawline. It goes right there for Spider-Man. And that's what John Romita Sr. contributed to the brilliant design that Ditko made. That there was a human face behind there. And without those lines, it looks wrong to me. It does. I was spoiled. And check out my video on that, on how the Romitas took it next level, took Ditko's design next level. And there's also this. It's a Christmas ornament that I have. I put up every year on my tree. I love it, and it's rock solid, heavy, beautiful. And then there's this. Some of you have seen it, maybe not all of you have. There's my boy, Pigman, who wears pigskin leather to exploit the Islamic enemy's bigotry. Indeed he does. They did a great job. A great job. Look at that. It's awesome. Pigskin leather. All right, guys. So let me finish up, guys, and then I'll get going. It's always a pleasure. Thanks for being here, everyone. I always appreciate it. Thank you. And get ready again. February 21st, Friday, I will be launching my Pigman crowdfund campaign and for Pigman #1. Relaunching the series. It'll be a remastered issue 1 and 2 as a new issue 1. It was always called The Infidel featuring Pigman. It's now called Pigman. And by issue 3, it'll be all new material. By issue 3, if I get there, if all goes well, and I hope it does, guys. I hope you're there for me. I hope your interest propels it to issue 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I really do. So Egon the Dragoncock says, Brad Bird making the Fantastic Four would have made too much sense. Exactly. I know. And he wanted to do it. Send feelers out there, you know? The guy's great at what he does. Give him that. I know people were let down by part two in Incredibles. I enjoyed it. It's not as good as part one, but I did enjoy it. We will see what part three does. Because last I remember, they do a man called Plush says Hugh Laurie, were he younger, maybe could be Mr. Fantastic. Yeah, I think he could have. Younger, a little more. Yeah, definitely. M Sandwich says Simon's Ragnarok is just freaking great. It is, man. It is. I haven't read it in a number of years as well, and I tried. It's so funny. I had it on digital on Comixology, and I went to reread them, and it was nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found. I was like, what the hell, man? On my library, I was like, this is weird, and so I had to get the print versions. I got a hardcover for issue 2. Issue 2 was so rare, it was going for $5,000 on Amazon. I finally found it for $36 or more on eBay. Someone give me a little heads up. And also I got issue 1, so I still have issue 3 on my digital. So I just started rereading them as well. And I love it because, when you read these things, you still get a little surprised about the details. You're like, okay, I overlooked that or I didn't retain that. It's awesome. Flayed One says, I think Table for One would make a great web series, would need to be well produced, therefore pricey, but I think it would be great. Hey man, I got interest from the producer of the Shield TV show. He wanted to turn that and he wanted to adapt that into some kind of series. I thought that would be interesting. I was actually flat out surprised. A guy with that kind of show doing a relatively limited, it's one night in a restaurant in Manhattan, in an underground restaurant in Manhattan called Sottoterra, which is underground, which is hell. It could be. I mean, I don't know how it could be expanded more than that. I don't know. It could be a short film. It could be a play. It definitely could be a play in one location. It'll be interesting. I've gotten interest from producers, never quite turned out, but they were serious in their interest, which is gratifying because it's like, okay, they saw something in my comic which they can think might be adaptable, which is pretty cool. M Sandwich says Undead Thor is badass. He really is. I mean, it's just talk about how can I put it? No vanity, right? Thor with a skull head and no bottom jaw. Pretty wild. Aesthetically, just I was like, whoa, shit, that's a complete different look, and it's a different Thor than his Marvel run. Clearly, more closer to the Norse mythology Thor. Egon the Dragoncock says the bad from The Office should have been Mr. Fantastic. Yeah, instead of wasting him in that stupid Doctor Strange movie. Yeah, I'm not crazy about him as the actor. I think he was okay as Mr. Fantastic, but sure, better than what's his name? Whatever his name is, the guy who's playing it. Toxic Dust 13 says that's cool too. LOL. Don't know. I lose a little context here, guys. Sorry. Mike Hunt says God told Abraham to kill his son. He should have said no. He should have said no. Isn't that the idea that he did say yes and God said, okay, we don't have to do that? Okay. Last comment here, guys. So a man called Plush says when Dee Dee was still at Fox, a director made a sick 70s exploitation pitch. A video on YouTube is called Daredevil NC-17. Your Born Again video here made me think of it. Interesting. Huh. Interesting. I just try to put this on the screen like I see people do. What the hell, guys? What am I doing? I don't know. Let me get it off, I guess. But interesting. There's no need to go super dark with Daredevil. There really isn't. I think sometimes they go, at least from what I hear. For me, I can deal with it. And then, in terms of race swapping, right? The actor who played Ben Urich was great. Happened to be a black guy. He was a great actor. He did a great job. There was nothing about him that said, this is anything else than just a reporter in New York City. So that's cool. That's fine. I mean, when they do things like that, that's fine. Ben Urich is more about who he is than how he looks. He's not a very, identifiable character on a physical level, so it's fine. But man, that was a great show. They did a great job, and I hope at least this is good. If it's not going to be as great as the last one, when it probably isn't, at least it'll be good, and I hope it is. And again, Marvel, I think they're tired of fucking around. I think that they should have fired Kevin Feige, whatever his name is, Kevin Feige. They should have fired his ass after his fourth bullshit that they did. I mean, there's no excuse why not fire him. He showed who he is. Get him the hell out of there. He wasn't a victim of circumstance. He made it happen. He made those decisions. He chose all that bullshit. Anyway, guys, thanks for taking part in my live stream. I really enjoy it, guys. And get ready for the launch of Pigman, February 21st. I put it off for a few reasons, but I think it'll be good and ready by then. So thanks a lot, guys. I do appreciate your time. Your give and take is always appreciated, guys. Thank you so much. Take care. Be well. One last thing. Pigman. Coming February 21st. Take care, guys.